Good morning, guys. How are you today? Hungry and tired. We're all hungry and tired. Some more than others. Here you go, Danielle. Today we're going to learn about orchestration. What is orchestration? Does anyone have an idea of what orchestration is? The way music is structured. That's a good guess. No. Okay. That's also a good guess, I guess. What the first activity? So our objectives for today are to be able to identify instruments from the modern orchestra and to solve simple orchestrational scenarios. So an orchestrational scenario is I have a video of a man that's running down the street and he's getting chased by an evil clown. What kind of instruments am I going to use? What kind of music is it going to be? That's what orchestration is. Okay? So first, to get you guys thinking about sounds and music, I want you to either draw a picture or write down what this music evokes, imagery that this evokes. Okay, so we're going to start with this. This piece of music is called Morgenstimme. It's by Edvard Grieg. And it's a well-known piece. Right or wrong answers. Just write down what this music makes you think, what it makes you feel. Maybe it makes you think about something that happened in the past. Maybe it makes you feel like you were at the beach. Okay, so I'm going to stop that now. Can I get any volunteers? Yes, Amy. Makes bird flying. That's good. I like that one. Yes, Rylan. Makes you think of a sunrise, which is perfect because that's what the composer wants you to think. Even better. Both. You guys are all on the right track. So, anyone else? Anyone else put their hands up? Spring. Yeah. That's spring. Daniel. I drew a flower. You drew a flower. That works. Spring. Yeah, the flower. Running through the meadow. Yes, I like that. That's all very good imagery. Sunlight reflected on the ocean. Yes, Eddie. It made me think of being in the happiest mood of all time. Being in happiest mood. Yes, all those feelings are valid. So this piece of music, the translation into English, it's called Morning Mood. So when I hear this piece, I think of an image that I have in my mind is when I grew up out here in Fontana. It was the sun coming up over the mountains over there, like the sun's slowly coming up and it's slowly getting brighter. And as soon as we get to the climax, boom, the sun's fully up. It's a beautiful, bright day, right? So the composer used violins, which are a great instrument for that light, happy, pretty sound, right? And then what other instrument did he use at the beginning to make you think of like peaceful and pastoral? A flute. Yes, a flute. So next we're going to go on into what is orchestration. So orchestration involves a series of choices made by composers. And orchestration, depending on the mood or the action of the scenes they are trying to portray, they have to use different instruments. We wouldn't have used a snare drum and a gong for that song, right? It'd be very out of place. Although a snare drum and a gong are perfect for action, right? This is what orchestration is. So basically, orchestration is how composers choose which instruments to use and how they use them. So for our activity that we're going to be doing today, there are some things that I would like for you to learn about. We're going to be talking about the modern orchestra. And in the modern orchestra, there are 4 families. We have the string family, the wind family, not the woodwinds because they're not all made out of wood, but the wind family, the brass family, and the percussion family. So I'm going to briefly introduce you to all of these instruments. The first instrument in the string family is the violin. The violin is a melody instrument that can be used to portray a wide range of emotions and feelings. It's used for everything from really sad to really happy. It's a very agile instrument. That means it can play quick and fast, and it can be very expressive. And composers love to choose this instrument as an instrument for solo passages. And here is an example of violin playing. So as you can see, it's quite, it looks very easy to play. And you can do lots of little fun things like those little trills. But actually everything that this lady is doing is quite difficult. She's been practicing for years and years and years to make it look this easy. Okay? The next instrument is the viola. The viola is an instrument that is bigger than the violin, but looks like the violin, and is lower and has a darker sound than the violin. The viola is, if we look at families of instruments, the viola is in between the violin and an instrument we're going to learn about next, which is called the cello. So this is the middle instrument. So if we compare our these stringed instruments to a choir, the viola is like the alto singer. Okay? And composers like to use the viola for counter melodies and harmony. And here is what a viola sounds like. Listen to its darker quality that it has compared to the violin. And her metronome is counting for her.
1, 2, 3, 1, set, go.
Sounds like the violin, but it's darker. It doesn't have that bright sound to it. It's almost mellow, but not quite mellow. The next instrument in our string family is the cello. The cello is a bass instrument. It has one of the largest usable ranges in the string family. It can play really, really low notes quite well, and it can play beautifully high notes. as a composer, this is one of my favorite instruments to write for, just because of the way that it maintains its quality, tonal quality throughout all of its ranges. Um, this instrument is commonly used for solos as well. This is like the violin of the low section, okay? And now we're gonna listen to a famous cello player play a suite by Bach. This cello player is Yo-Yo Ma. See how easy it moves between low and high? In the medieval times, this instrument was considered to be the instrument that best resembled the human voice. And if you played this instrument, it used to be called the viola da gamba, before it's now the cello. That was like the it instrument to play. The last instrument in the string family is the bass. Some people call it the double bass. I think they just call it the double bass because it's an octave lower than the cello. This instrument, surprisingly enough, can play this note on the piano. The low E on the piano. And when they're tuning, every time I listen to them tune, it sounds like a whole bunch of lawnmowers have started. It's Saturday morning, all the lawnmowers are out mowing the lawn. I know the basses are tuning. It has the deepest sound in all of the string family, and this instrument provides the foundation that everything else plays on. So without the bass, our chords would sound really wacky. This provides stability for the entire string section. Okay? Does anyone have any questions about the strings? No? Okay. We're going to move on to the wind family. The first instrument in the wind, yes. The first instrument in the wind family is the flute. Flute is a melody instrument and it's very agile. It's much like the violin. It can play really hard and fast parts. And typically it's used to depict a bird. Now, I'm just going to preface this soundbite before it comes on. I picked a gentleman playing Flight of the Bumblebee. Right? A very popular song. For some reason, when I played it back, this is what I got. Flute Eater. Look at his fingers. It's not even matching what he's. I have no idea why this is on there. It's still playing. He's not even standing there playing. So the flute does sound like that, but doesn't have the dubstep quality. The next instrument that we're going to listen to is the clarinet. I'm going to find it. The clarinet is also a melody instrument. The clarinet has a large range, much like the cello. And much like the cello, its range is very stable in all three parts of the range, from the very low range to its middle range to its high range. Its altissimo range, however, its little nails on the chalkboard, screechy, but that's what professional clarinet players want in that range. If you're going to play that high, you want to be heard. Okay? Has anyone ever heard klezmer clarinet playing? No? It's a type of Jewish clarinet playing that's common to gypsy music. And I'll look for an example of that. So here's an example of a clarinet player. So clarinets, you can play it pretty fast on a clarinet, right? It can do a lot of things. It can do those bends. It can do these glissandos. It's a very cool instrument. The next instrument we're going to listen to is the oboe. Excuse my typo, but an oboe is a double reed instrument. So when I'm talking about a double reed instrument, it means that instead of like the clarinet that has one reed, or a saxophone that has one reed, usually when you have a clarinet or a saxophone, you have a mouthpiece, and then one single reed goes into the mouthpiece, and then the single reed vibrates, and that's how we get sound. In double reeded instruments, two reeds are sandwiched together, and they have a real small hole that you play through, and then two reeds flap together to create the sound. And this helps to give it this very Middle Eastern kind of haunting sound. The oboe is often used for really expressive solos. It has a beautiful haunting sound to it. And the first image that comes to mind when I think of an oboe is when you see the snake charmer. That's what that's what I think of when I hear an oboe. But this piece that I'm going to play through now is the oboe solo from Swan Lake, which is a standard oboe solo. Has this really soft sound, soft, delicate sound to it. Pretty, huh? The oboe is a neat instrument. When the oboe was first created, like many woodwind instruments, there were no buttons. There were just holes. And it was a really hard instrument to play, and because of them being modernized, it's a much more easier instrument to play. The next instrument we're going to look at is related to the oboe. It's a double reeded instrument. This instrument is called the bassoon. The bassoon is an instrument that's wrapped up 3 times. If we were to unwrap it, it'd probably be about this tall. Really tall. The bassoon has a very, its low range, it's very pouty and blah, blah, blatty. In the video that we're going to watch, the video is going to be used to portray the grandpa. But the bassoon also has a beautiful upper range that's used in stuff like The Rite of Spring, Concerto for Orchestra that we're playing right now with the band. There's a really cool bassoon solo in it. But tell me if you guys like this arrangement. This is a quartet of bassoonists. So what song is this? Someone I used to know, right? But listen to how much They can get you. It can play bass parts, in between parts, and the melody. I think because of this video, these people got to go play at Walt Disney Hall. So it pays to be a dorky musician sometimes and make up stuff. Very cool, huh? Okay, now we're going to talk about my favorite section, the brass family. Okay, and the top of the brass section is the trumpet. I like to say that the trumpet is the king of the brass section because I'm a trumpet player. And we're always the king of the brass section. And ask any other brass player, they'll tell you that, no, it's the tuba, no, it's the mellophone, no, it's the trombone, it's the trumpet. The trumpet is the king. The trumpet plays the highest notes in the brass family. The trumpet is, in the brass family, the trumpet is like the violin or the clarinet. It has the melody, it plays the harder and faster lines, okay? It has a wide range of uses. It could be used for a jazz band, concert band, banda, all kinds of stuff, right? Ska, reggae. Most of these instruments can be used for a lot of things, but trumpets have a wide usage. Trumpets, like French horns, have been used to herald the arrival of kings and nobility for centuries. And they're used to start the beginning of wars, right? Think of World of Warcraft or Game of Thrones. There's always somebody blowing on some type of trumpet thing, like, doo-doo-doo-doo, let's go kill each other, right? Trumpets have been around for a long time. In our country, we have a fanfare called Ruffles and Flourishes, and this is the fanfare that's only for the President of the United States. And when I was a junior in high school, I actually got to play this for President Bill Clinton at San Bernardino Valley College, it was really fun. It was really neat and scary, and he was really, really tall. Like, really tall. That was a good job. That was a good job, young man. Give me a tenor saxophone. So, because you guys know that Bill Clinton plays tenor saxophone? Yes. Oddly, he took my trumpet case, or the Secret Service took my trumpet case, and he used it as a podium, and we're in the San Bernardino Valley Hall, and the bander's like, let's go, it's time to go. You know where it's at. The bander's like, there's Secret Servicemen everywhere. No one stole your case. It's gone. I don't know where it's at. I'm at the brink of crying. I'm like, what's going on? I asked the Secret Service guy, I'm like, my case is missing. Like, hold on. I think I know where it's at. And he's like, here you go. And I'm like, what was it? He's like, Bill Clinton was using it for a press conference. He was standing on it. I'm like, what? Okay, you can't find a podium for the president? How ghetto are we? Give me my stand back.
You still have that case?
No, I don't have that case anymore. It died. Bill Clinton stood on it. No, I'm just kidding. It wasn't mine. It was the band director's. It was a triple case. It had a flugelhorn and 2 trumpets in it. Yeah. So he's standing on my instruments too. Okay, next in brass family is the horn. Not the French horn, but the horn. In the early 1900s, a very smart marketer decided that horns weren't selling. No one wants to buy a horn, so he added the word French in front of the word, and thus began the French horn. And then sales of them went crazy. So if you want to sell anything, put the word French in front of it. French fries, French bread, French Samsung. I don't know. Okay. The horn is a lot like the oboe, that it has this beautiful mellow sound. It can play these beautiful sweeping counter melodies. So whenever there's something that's going on, Rudy just caught the ball and ran in. You'll hear some horn going da 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 da, right? And like the trumpet, it was used to signal battles. And I think you'll like this example because this is the horn section playing the beginning of Jurassic Park. This is just horns, that's it. All that sound is French horns. Those are the engineers like, yeah, that sounds good. Record that. How much do you think these guys get paid an hour? Does anyone know? Huh? 185? No. Not 500. They get paid $350 an hour. An hour. That's how much. That's the prevailing wage of a professional musician. $350 an hour. Hour minimum. Cool. The next instrument is the trombone. The trombone is a low brass instrument and is used to play lower melody parts and accompaniment parts. The trombone is the only instrument in the brass family that has a slide. This slide is used to create all the different notes. So all the other instruments, the trumpet and the horn that we've looked at, they have valves. This one has slides. So it makes it able to play these things, really cool things called glissandos, where they go like that. So one of the only instruments can do that besides string instruments. The string instruments can do that as well. So the trombone is a favorite instrument for jazz music because of its slide. And here is what a trombone sounds like. It has a really pretty mellow sound too. It's a little clearer than the French horn. Last instrument in the brass family is the tuba. The tuba plays the lowest notes in the family, just like the string bass. Okay? It provides the foundation. One interesting thing about the tuba is only one tuba is needed in a modern orchestra. Even if there's 100 players in the orchestra, you only need one. That's how loud that thing is. Okay? And like the string bass, it provides the foundation for the harmony. This instrument can actually play notes lower than the piano does. Yeah, they're called pedal tones, but they can play lower than the actual piano. Yeah, super cool. Who's heard this piece before? Who knows where it comes from? Yeah, that tuba. No, it comes from a piece of music called Flight of the Valkyries by Richard Wagner. Interesting thing is, Wagner was a crazy racist. Crazy racist. Like, Wagner was alive during World War II, and Wagner wrote about the Jews. The Jews are important. We have to have someone to kill. Yes! So that goes to tell you, just because people write music does not mean they're good people. Yes! Crazy, huh? Okay, now on to Ryland's favorite family. Happy birthday, Ryland, by the way. The percussion family. In the percussion family, one of the main instruments that most people know for the orchestra is the timpani. There are typically 4 of them, and they are pitched instruments. So like all the other instruments that we just saw where they can play specific notes in a music, so can the timpani. Timpani is one of the few percussion instruments that can do this besides the mallet instruments that we have. And here is an example of a really good timpani player playing a song you'll probably know. What songs are you playing? Tetris, yeah. Neat, huh? The timpani, the way that it changes notes is it has a little foot pedal that you press down like a gas pedal, and it can lower or raise the pitch. Before this was invented, timpanis had cranks on them, so you're like, oh shoot, I gotta play another note. Crank, ding, crank, ding, ding, crank. So, or they just had a few notes. You're like, I'm playing B flat today. That's all, okay? So timpanis as an instrument have come a long way, and they're very, very useful in the modern orchestra. The snare drum is the rock star of the percussion section. It is most always used to keep rhythm and add intensity, right? You're like, I really want something to be soft. I think I'll throw in snare drum. No. Right? That's why I call it the rock star of the percussion section. And here is a percussion player playing some rudiments. You get an idea of what it sounds like. Now, just because it's used for intensity and stuff like that, it also has a good dynamic range. You can play snare drum really soft, and you can play snare drum really loud. Who can give me an example of snare drum used not in a concert setting? Not in a drum corps setting. Military. Marching. So back in the day, there was some crazy person that played the snare drum and a piccolo player marching out the battle. They probably would get shot and killed. But, huh? Why do they do that? Let me turn this off. So, why do we have marching bands in high school? I know, I'm asking you a different question. Why do we have marching bands in high school? What are we typically used for? We're used as a pep band. Right? We're used to bring up morale. So that's what the fife and drums were used for back in the military. They were used for morale, to keep the guys going, you know? If you're marching and you're marching to your certain death, it kind of sucks if you're just like, just go. But then you have some little piccolo player like, let's go! Right? You might... You might step a little better, but it's better than the poor person that had to carry the flag the whole time, you know. But yes, that's what they were used for. They were used for morale. Okay? The bass drum. The bass drum is used to keep the beat and is used for dramatic effect. Something big's going to happen in a piece of music. Boom! Hit the bass drum. You got an F? Boom! Hit the bass drum. You got swipe to the left? Boom! No, kidding. Just kidding.
Orchestral bass drum on a tilting stand. Stand, you can tilt the bass drum to any angle and then just lock it off. Strike it. If you're doing something very rhythmic, going into the bass drum, you just
The thing I love about the bass drum, it just keeps ringing.
A slight glancing blow is the best way to do it.
Listen.
And again, that sound will put through any band.
Very cool, right? The last group of instruments that we're going to look at are called auxiliary instruments. So auxiliary instruments are the bells, the gong, the wind chime, all of our various mallets, wood blocks, even keyboard. So what I thought would be neat for some of you guys to watch is a front ensemble, which is called the pit. And this is the front ensemble for the Cadets, 2011. So these are Malin instruments, suspended cymbal. There's probably about 20 people in this ensemble. Go taiko drum. So the pit is neat because it can incorporate instruments from all different countries. That one drum that she was hitting from the side, that's from Japan. I often wonder where all these musicians goes because look at all them playing mallets. It's not like colleges are flooded with mallet players, right? I think as far as this type of playing goes, this is the highest achievement that you can get as a mallet player unless you go professional. But they're pretty damn good. Go, pig, go. Okay, so the last thing we're gonna do is I'm gonna show you a little video. Okay, we're gonna look at orchestration in use. Peter and the Wolf. Let's focus. Look up. You guys have any questions? Yes.
Can I go?
So I want you to pay attention to how, when the music starts, what instruments portray what animals. This piece of music was written by Tchaikovsky, who is a Russian. No! The what version?
My dear children, young and old, each character of this tale is represented by an instrument in the orchestra. The bird by a flute.
For reasons to fly southwest from California, please direct your attention here and here, but not here. Sit back, relax.
This is the story of Peter and the Wolf. Now, in our story, the characters are represented by instruments in the symphony orchestra. For example, the bird by the high sounds of the flute. The duck is played by the gorgeous oboe. The cat is played by the beautiful clarinet. The grandfather by the very low bassoon. The wolf is played by three mean horns. Peter is played by the string section of the orchestra. And the rifle shots are played by the kettle drum and the big drum.
That's the bass drum. The timpani.
here is our story. Early one morning, Peter opened the gate and went out into the big green meadow.
Alright.
Just then, a duck came waddling around. She was glad that Peter